We have a pretty full agenda for bills. We'll get right to it. The first bill up is a walkthrough of the governor's budget recommendations. Since this is just a walkthrough and no votes, I'll present from the chair. We have about 20 minutes blocked out for this bill. So on with the show with House File 1524, Governor's Ag Funding Recommendations. And I'll move 1524 to get the bill before us. Okay, a few notes before we recognize Mr. Sullivan. We've already heard testimony from the governor's change item request, so that's been covered and discussed. This bill puts the recommendations into bill format and presents a complete picture, base level, and change items. We have staff to do a quick walkthrough, provide an opportunity for testimony, take questions, and then lay the bill over. House File 1524 will be the vehicle for the Omnibus Ag Finance Bill when we put our delete all together in the coming weeks, and we'll take further amendments then. With that, Mr. Sullivan, our nonpartisan House research analyst, could you do a quick walkthrough of Article 1?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members. I'm Colby with House Research, and start off right away, House File 1524, the first page. I'm going to distinguish between what are called base riders, or the riders that tend to appear in the Ag Finance Bill every 2 years, and then the new riders that, for the most part, reflect the governor's change items as part of his budget proposal for the Department of Agriculture and the Board of Animal Health and the Agricultural Utilization Research Institute for fiscal years 22 and 23. So starting off, Ms. Conley has the bill up. This is all boilerplate rider language that's base here beginning. It shows the appropriation in total for the Department of Agriculture, the appropriation by fund, remediation, and general fund. And as is customary, appropriations from the agricultural fund, the federal fund, and other sources of money that are significant portions of the department's budget, they don't show up in this bill. This bill just covers general and remediation fund spending. So then moving into the first budgetary program for the Department of Agriculture, Subdivision 2, Protection Services. This is the budgetary program that includes most of the department's regulatory functions, food and feed safety, pesticide and fertilizer management, etc. Most of these riders are base, but if this county is actually on the screen now, starting on line 2.29, there's a new sentence, provides additional flexibility to the department. This is the rider that specifies how much money the department should allocate for compensation to livestock farmers or animals that are destroyed or crippled by wolves. So the rider is pretty much the same as in years past, but on 2.29, new language would provide that if the Department of Agriculture received federal money for the same purpose to provide compensation to livestock owners, then the department may use an equivalent amount of the state appropriation each year to reimburse non-lethal prevention methods that are performed by federal wildlife services staff. So that ends on line 2.34. And again, that's new language that I don't believe has appeared in the bill before. So then, Ms. Conley, if you would scroll down to line 3.18. This is paragraph D. This coincides with the change item to provide additional funding for the noxious weed and invasive plant program at the Department of Agriculture. The next paragraph, paragraph E, is also new and reflects the governor's change item. This is one-time money for the industrial hemp program for IT development. The next paragraph, paragraph F, is also new. It would provide additional funding for meat and poultry inspection services at the department. Following paragraph, paragraph G, $66,000 each year, would be additional funding to replace capital equipment in the Department of Ag's analytical laboratory, part of the governor's proposal. And then finally, the paragraph H, $274,000 the first year, $550,000 the second year, would be additional funding to maintain current service delivery. This is what's referred to in the governor's budget request as the operating adjustment. This is the portion of the entire operating adjustment request that falls under the programs within the category of protection services. So we'll see as we go through the bill for each budgetary program, the the corresponding amount of the operating adjustment shows up within each subdivision. And this is again the piece for protection services. So then subdivision 3, the next budgetary program, the level at which the legislature appropriates funding to the department, is the Ag Marketing and Development Program. The first rider, A, is base and is in the bill every 2 years, but the new paragraph B, beginning on 4.15, this is the language that goes with the governor's proposal for $100,000 one time for additional international marketing opportunities, including in-market representation in Taiwan. The 2019 budget bill provided an extra $100,000 per year for domestic and international marketing, and that's been rolled into the base, and that rider is not in this bill, but it is still part of the governor's, of the base budget for the department. This 100,000 would be an additional amount above and beyond what's provided under the base currently. And paragraph C is a base rider, money for dairy development and profitability. So scrolling down then to page 5.11, this is the $50,000 the governor's proposed each year at the Department of Agriculture for mental health outreach and support to farmers, including a 24-hour hotline, stigma reduction, and educational offerings. And this rider is similar to a one-time rider in the 2019 budget bill. The language is a bit different here, but in general, both appropriations were for mental health outreach. 5.17, this paragraph E is also new. This is the pilot project to create farmland access teams and to upgrade the Minnesota Farm Link web application to connect farmers with those seeking to own farmland. And then paragraph F, 54,000 the first year and 109 the second year. This is the operating adjustment for ag marketing and development. Paragraph G is base, so that takes us to subdivision 4, the next budgetary program, agriculture, bioenergy, and bioproduct advancement. This is where the funding is provided for the the Agricultural Research, Education, Extension, and Technology Transfer Program. That's paragraph A, which is a base rider, including specified allocations from that total amount each year that go towards ag education, ag rapid response, and potato and wild rice breeding research. So that continues to the bottom of page 6 and on to page 7. Just one note on 7.3, there's language that's carried over from the 2019 bill that said of the appropriation for ag-REIT each year, the University of Minnesota may use up to $1 million each year for research on avian influenza. That's the 2019 rider as enacted into law. In 2020, the legislature modified that a bit and said that $1 million could be for avian influenza, salmonella, and other turkey-related research as well. So that's not in the bill currently for the committee. Then moving on down to 7.12, this is the beginning of the ag-RE appropriation, agricultural growth, research, and innovation. And as in years past, the rider provides different eligible uses of the ag-RE appropriation each year. It's quite a long list, as you can see. And that is base. This has been the allocation or the available spending areas that the legislature has provided in the past. And let's see, that continues then all the way on to page 8. And you'll see the allocations or the, earmarks, you might say, within the total ag-RE appropriation begin on 8.25, which is common. You scroll down just a little bit. There we go. See that there's $1 million each year of the total ag-RE appropriation can only be used for distribution to the state's county fairs to preserve and promote Minnesota agriculture. The next, clause 2, starts on 8.29. This is the amount of ag-RE that must be allocated to the bio-incentive program. This is, and in the governor's proposal, this would be additional money than in the base, but the rider language that specifies how that money may be spent is the same as in years past. And then if you scroll down, let's see, you're in a good spot there, 9.9. This is new. This is part of the governor's proposal to increase Agri by $1 million the first year from the base level, and to dedicate that money only for facilitating the startup, modernization, or expansion of meat, poultry, egg, and milk processing facilities. The rest of the rider then down to 9.28 is base, and then on 9.28, you'll see the language that goes with the governor's proposal to appropriate $2 million per year base for biofuels, infrastructure, and financial assistance. And then at the end of subdivision 4 is the operating adjustment for this budget area. And then on to the final subdivision or budgetary program within the Department of Agriculture, Administration, and Financial Assistance. This is the area that pays for several designated pass-through grants the department awards, as well as the Commissioner's Office and certain other administrative functions of the agency. Paragraphs A, B, and C, D are all base that have been in there before. They specify certain amounts that are to be passed through from the department to designated recipients. Continues down 11. Let's see, you can go all the way to the bottom of page 11. And 12.22 is the next new item that I'd like to mention for the committee. And this is the governor's proposal to allocate $1 million each year to the Ag BMP loan program. That language is in paragraph G. Paragraph H is the operating adjustment for administration and financial assistance. And just have a little bit left. The Board of Animal Health appears in section 3. You see that there's less money appropriated and also less in the way of rider language that specifies how that money is to be spent. The language under the Board of Animal Health is a base rider that designates how much is for ag emergency preparedness and response. You'll note that unlike the Department of Agriculture, in the bill as introduced, there isn't an amount specified for the operating adjustment, although an operating adjustment is part of the governor's budget proposal for the Board of Animal Health. Section 4, this is AURI, the Agricultural Utilization Research Institute. As is customary in years past, there is no rider language for the AURI appropriation. And then finally, section 5, this corresponds with the governor's proposal to reduce enacted appropriations for the Department of Agriculture in fiscal 2021 to recognize cost savings that occurred as a result of really working from home. Fewer expenses incurred by Department of Agriculture staff than anticipated before the pandemic. And the reduction, as in the earlier part of the bill, where there are the different budget programs and the amount that can be spent under each one, these reductions are allocated to each of the 4 programs. So paragraph A is a reduction to protection services in the current fiscal year 2021. B is ag marketing and development. C is ag bioenergy and bioproduct advancement, and D is administration and financial assistance. And with that, Mr. Chair, we've reached the end of Article 1.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Let's move on to Ms. Kromschroeder from the department. Let's hear about Article 2. So please identify yourself for the record and begin.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. My name is Sherry Kromschroeder. I am the Finance and Budget Director for the Minnesota Department of Agriculture. I'll be doing the walkthrough of Article 2 for the agriculture statutory changes, beginning with Section 1 on line 13.22. So Section 1 increases the pesticide gross sales rate in fiscal year 22 from 0.5 for non-ag pesticides and from 0.55 for ag pesticides to 0.9%. To generate approximately $2.251 million in the agriculture fund beginning in fiscal year 23. This is to maintain critical laboratory services, equipment, and supplies to create 2 new pesticide education and label interpretation positions and to comply with OLA audit recommendations. For more background information on this fee change, you can refer to the change item titled Pesticide Fee Increase to Fund Laboratory and Urban Programs, found on page 73 of MDA's budget book. Section 2 begins on line 16.4. This creates a food handler license account in the agricultural fund and appropriates money deposited to the account to the commissioner for expenses related to licensing and and inspecting food handlers under chapters 28 and 34A are rules adopted under one of those chapters. Section 3 creates a vending machine inspection account in the agricultural fund and appropriates money deposited to that account to the commissioner for expenses related to identifying and inspecting food vending machines under chapters 28 and 34A, or any rules adopted under one of those chapters. The changes in section 2 and 3 allow the department to shift general fund food handler licensing and vending machine inspection fees to the agricultural fund, which are approximately 3.6 million in receipts annually. A reduction of 3.6 million to the protection services general fund base makes this budget neutral, makes this a budget neutral proposal to the general fund through dedication of the food handler license revenue to the ag fund for the program's use. For additional details related to this change item, to the changes in section 2 and 3, you can refer to the change item titled Dedicated Food Licensing Fees, and that is on page 69 of MDA's budget book. Moving to section 4. Section 4 establishes a biofuels infrastructure financial assistance program to make available grant funding to help service stations, particularly independent retailers and small chains, upgrade or replace fuel dispensing infrastructure in order to safely store and deliver high blends of biofuels. Subdivision 1 of this section establishes the definition. Subdivision 2 establishes the program. Subdivision 3 creates a biofuels infrastructure account in the ag fund that will consist of money appropriated to the commissioner and any other money donated, allotted, transferred, or otherwise provided to the account, including interest. The funding identified in Article 1, Section 2, Subdivision 4C will transfer into this account. Subdivision 4 assigns the commissioner as the administrator of the account and requires creation of a program requirements and a competitive process for projects that apply for assistance. Subdivision 5 states that the commissioner, in cooperation with the Biofuels Infrastructure Financial Assistance Program Advisory Committee, establish project eligibility guidelines and the application process. And subdivision 6 spells out the legislative report criteria and metrics. Moving to section 5, this section creates the Biofuels Infrastructure Financial Assistance Program Advisory Committee. Subdivision 1 establishes the definitions. Subdivision 2 creates the committee that will consist of no more than 15 members that are appointed by the commissioner. Subdivision 3 provides the advisory committee duties. Subdivision 4 states that the committee must meet at least 2 times per year. Subdivision 5 requires MDA's commissioner to provide staffing, meeting space, and administrative services for the advisory committee. And subdivision 6 assigns the commissioner of agriculture or the commissioner's designee as the chair of the committee. And subdivision 7 says that public members of this advisory committee shall serve without compensation or payment of expenses. For more information on the Biofuels Infrastructure Grant Program, please refer to MDA's change item titled Biofuels Infrastructure, and this can be found on page 15 of our budget book. And that concludes the walkthrough of Article 2. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Krumschroeder. Article 3 is the broadband, references broadband, which is not in our jurisdiction, so we'll put that aside for now. Before we go to testimony, I'll note that Mr. Savory, our nonpartisan fiscal analyst, has also prepared 2 tracking spreadsheets. If you have any questions, we'll take those up after the testimony. In addition to those who signed up, a written testimony was submitted by the Minnesota Nursery and Landscape Association and the Minnesota Farm Bureau. Welcome. State your name and please keep comments to 2 minutes or less. Tristan Wilmes.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. My name is Tristan Wilmes. I'm the Vice President of Agronomy at Central Farm Service in South Central Minnesota. We're a full-service ag retail co-op. I've been serving on the Minnesota Crop Production Retailers Association board since 2015. The Minnesota growers are currently paying a higher rate for pesticide fees compared to neighboring states at today's rates on pesticide fees. The surrounding states, which include Wisconsin, Iowa, and North and South Dakota, have some form of registrant fee for each product sold in the respective state. Minnesota has a registrant fee plus a fee paid by the pesticide dealer that the neighboring states don't have. Increasing pesticide fees to Minnesota growers over 60% from last year at a time when grower profitability has been difficult the past 2 to 3 years. This only adds to the mental health concerns that Minnesota growers are already facing. These additional fees would take an additional $2 million out of the rural Minnesota economy, and increases in expenses to growers will only continue to drive consolidation of the number of growers in Minnesota, which leads to additional consolidation at the ag retail level as well. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Next up, we have Bill Bond, Minnesota Crop Production Retailers Association. He's the executive director there. Mr. Bond.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm Bill Bond, as Chairman has said, executive director of the Minnesota Crop Production Retailers Trade Association. We represent the agronomy departments of most co-ops in the state, over 600 certified crop advisors, and the companies that support providing the crop inputs that our growers get throughout Minnesota. We would ask that you consider and refrain from increasing the pesticide fees as is contained in this bill. We understand that there are needs within the laboratory. The commissioner was good enough to give a tour to me last fall to see what the needs are. We think that there are other places where those funds may be obtained, and this is a rather dramatic increase in the pesticide fees. We would ask you to not include this in the bill. Thank you.
Okay, understood. Thank you for your testimony. We have written testimony from Mr. Stu Laurie, Director of Government Relations with the Minnesota Farmers Union. I'll encourage everyone to absorb that written testimony, and we can move to questions and comments for the testifiers at this point.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
This is Nancy. Timothy Rudnicki is also on the list. I think we missed over him.
I missed him. I'm sorry. Mr. Rudnicki, please.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair and committee members. I am Tim Rudnicki, representing the Minnesota Biofuels Association, and I just want to voice our support for House File 1524, in particular Article 2, Sections 4 and 5. And in a nutshell, we support this bill and those provisions because it helps build on the success that we've had collectively working with the Minnesota Department of Agriculture to roll out biofuel infrastructure. The second key point is that it's funding that can help get the homegrown renewable energy produced in Minnesota to Minnesotans. And I guess two other quick points. It's a way of getting good value to consumers of energy needed to move their vehicles. And it's also a good way to provide some initiatives to start decreasing greenhouse gas emissions in the transportation sector while giving an overall boost to the economy. So once again, we stand in strong support of those provisions.
Thank you, Mr. Rudnicki. We have about 4 minutes for questions, if there are any questions for the testifiers. Representative Anderson, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A couple of questions for Mrs. Kromschroeder on the ag pesticide fee increases. Ma'am, it seemed like a really hefty increase going from 0.5 to 0.9, nearly a 100% increase. What was the funding this fund took in last year? And the increase is over $2 million. Why such a large increase in 1 year at this late time?
See, that'd be Kristen Wilms.
Ms. Kromschroeder handled that.
Kromschroeder. Ms. Kromschroeder, I'm sorry.
Yes, Mr. Chair, Representative Anderson, the pesticide regulatory account fee change is about 2.251 million, and the figure actually covers a little over $1 million would be used for critical laboratory services. 350,000 is to help fund supplies and 2 analytical chemist positions in our MDA laboratory. And 325,000 of that is to create 2 new pesticide education and label interpretation positions. And then 520,000 is to provide additional resources for the purchase of analytical equipment, supplies, and personnel for the lab, to add 3 chemicals as requested by a recent OLA audit.
Mr. Chair.
Follow up, Representative Anderson.
Yeah, I didn't get the answer to the question, Ms. Chrome-Schroeder, of how much the fund took in last year. And it seems to me I recall early in the session, Commissioner Peterson talking about this to be funding an educational program here in the metro area. And it would seem to me that since the vast majority of these funds come in from ag pesticide purchases, it doesn't seem to be the right place, in my opinion, to fund those positions. And again, my last question, what was the funding of the program in the last fiscal year?
So I do not, yes, Representative Anderson, Mr. Chair, I do not have that figure right in front of me, but I can certainly look that up.
But is it safe to say that it's nearly a 100% increase going from 0.5 to 0.9, or about a 90% increase based on just the level of the fee?
Ms. Chrome-Schroeder.
Mr. Chair, Representative Anderson, it represents approximately 64% increase over the actual receipts that we collected in fiscal year 20, and that was 3.5 million.
Okay, thank you. No more questions, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Representative Hansen, we've got about 30 seconds.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would direct the committee to look at subsection E, that the last time that the pesticide fee was raised, I believe in 2010, we actually estimated that it was going to bring in 6.6 million and gave the commissioner the authority to raise it on his own to reach that amount. And I believe that those expectations were off, and therefore the department has not been able to do what was intended the last time the fee was raised. So it's been a very long time since it was raised, and it's time to do what the department is required to do.
Thank you. I didn't hear a question. Would the commissioner concur with that?
Mr. Chairman and members, that is one of the reasons we put it forward. There are other reasons too that we have put that fee increase forward, including the legislative audit report. But we do have our division director, Josh Stamper, could provide more information if you're interested in that at this point, or if you're short on time, we understand that too as well.
We are cramped on time. If you have additional information for us, please forward it on via email. Representative Hansen, did you have something else?
Nope, on to the next.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we'll continue our work on this bill, but seeing no further questions, House File 1524 is laid over.